Captain Jake Morrison stared at the empty space where a solar system should have been. His ship, the Horizon's Edge, floated quietly in the darkness. The stars around them looked normal, but something was very wrong. "Lisa, are you seeing this?" Jake asked his science officer. Dr. Lisa Carter looked up from her computer screen. Her face was pale. The star is still there, but everything else is gone. No planets, no asteroids, no space dust, nothing. Jake had been exploring space for 15 years. He had never seen anything like this. The Federation maps showed this system had 7 planets just 50 years ago. Now there was only empty space around a lonely star. "Tony, run a deep scan of the area," Jake told his tactical officer. Commander Tony Rodriguez worked at his station. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. "Sir, I'm picking up some strange readings. There are traces of metal in the space dust. Lots of different types. What kind of metals?" Lisa asked. "Everything. Iron, gold, uranium, elements I don't even recognize. It's like someone ground up entire planets and took most of the pieces away." Jake felt cold. In all his years with the Federation, he had never heard of anything that could do this. The Federation was made up of many different alien races. They had been exploring space for thousands of years. None of them had technology that could destroy whole solar systems. "Take us to the next system on the list," Jake ordered. The Horizon's Edge jumped through space. It took only a few minutes to reach the next location. Jake hoped this system would be normal. It was not. This system was worse. The star itself was dimmer than it should be. Something was pulling energy from it. In the distance, Jake could see huge machines floating in space. They were bigger than cities. The machines were dark and silent. "Those things are harvesting the star," Lisa said. Her voice was quiet. "They're taking its energy and materials." "Are they Federation ships?" Tony asked. Lisa shook her head. "No Federation race builds ships like that. These are completely different. The technology is unlike anything in our databases." Jake watched the massive machines work. They moved slowly but never stopped. Long arms reached out from the machines to touch the star. Each time they touched it, the star got a little dimmer. "How long would it take them to drain a star completely?" Jake asked. Lisa worked on her computer for several minutes. "At this rate, maybe 200 years. But Jake, if they can do this to stars, they can destroy planets much faster." "We need to report this to Earth immediately," Jake said. The message took 3 days to reach Earth. Admiral Ben Foster read Jake's report in his office. Outside his window, he could see the blue oceans of Earth. It looked peaceful and safe. Jake's report made him worry that peace would not last. Ben had worked with the Federation for 30 years. He knew how the other alien races thought. They would not take this threat seriously. Humans had a reputation in the Federation. Other races saw them as careful and peaceful. They thought humans worried too much about everything. Ben sent Jake's report to the Federation Council. He also sent his own letter asking for an emergency meeting. He waited for their response. The response came back quickly. It was not what Ben wanted to hear. "The Federation Council has reviewed the human report," the message said. "We believe this is likely a natural phenomenon or abandoned mining equipment. The humans are known for being overly cautious. We will send a science team to investigate in 6 months. 6 months. Ben knew that might be too late. He had read Jake's full report. The strange machines were moving. They were heading toward the inner parts of the galaxy, where most Federation worlds were located. Ben called a meeting with Earth's leaders. They met in a secure room deep underground. These meetings were rare and secret. "The Federation won't listen," Ben told the group. "They think we're being paranoid again." General Amy Walsh spoke up. "Maybe it's time to remind them why they invited us to join the Federation in the first place." "Not yet," said Dr. Nathan Price. He was an old man who kept Earth's most important secrets. "The protocols are clear. We only act if there's a direct threat to Federation worlds." "This could become that threat," Ben said. "Could become, yes, but it isn't yet. We wait and we watch. That's what we've always done." Ben did not like waiting, but he understood. For 200 years, humanity had followed the same plan. They joined the Federation as peaceful traders and scientists. They never showed their real strength. Other races trusted them because they seemed harmless. Meanwhile, Jake and his crew continued exploring. They found 12 more empty systems. The pattern was always the same. First, the machines would drain the star's energy. Then they would break apart the planets. Finally, they would take everything useful and move on. Lisa studied the path the machines were taking. She made a map showing where they had been and where they were going. The path was straight and purposeful. The machines were not wandering randomly through space. They had a destination. They're heading for the Federation core worlds, Lisa told Jake. At their current speed, they'll reach the outer colonies in 18 months. Jake sent this information to Earth. This time, Admiral Foster did not wait for the Federation Council. He sent emergency messages to every human ship in space. The messages were coded in a way only humans would understand. Condition yellow, the messages said. Begin quiet preparations. Across human space, people who had been waiting for decades started to work. Old machines were turned on. Secret factories began making things they had not made for 200 years. Hidden bases started receiving supplies. The Federation did not notice these activities. They were too busy arguing among themselves about trade routes and mining rights. They still did not believe the threat was real. On Earth, Dr. Price opened files that had been sealed since first contact with alien life. The files contained plans that he hoped would never be needed. As he read through the old documents, he remembered why humanity had agreed to hide its true nature. The galaxy was about to discover what humans could really do when they stopped holding back. Price just hoped it would not be too late to save everyone. Jake's ship continued its mission, documenting the destruction and tracking the mysterious machines. Each day, the machines moved closer to inhabited worlds. Each day, Jake hoped the Federation would finally understand the danger, but the Federation still would not listen. Soon, humanity would have to make a choice. They could continue following the old rules, or they could break their promise and reveal what they had been hiding for 2 centuries. The quiet years were almost over. Dr. Nathan Price walked through the underground halls beneath Earth's capital. Few people knew these tunnels existed. Even fewer knew what was stored in the deepest levels. Nathan had spent 40 years guarding humanity's greatest secrets. The elevator took him down 50 floors below the surface. At the bottom, armed guards checked his identity 3 times. They knew him well, but rules were rules. Nathan placed his hand on a scanner and looked into a device that checked his eyes. "Good morning, Dr. Price," one guard said. "The council is waiting for you." Nathan entered a large room filled with screens and computers. Around a central table sat the most powerful people on Earth. Admiral Ben Foster was there, along with General Amy Walsh and President Laura Mitchell. They all looked worried. "Nathan, we need to know about Protocol Omega," President Mitchell said without waiting for greetings. Nathan had hoped this day would never come. Protocol Omega was created when humans first met alien life 200 years ago. Back then, Earth's leaders had to make a difficult choice. They could join the galactic community as equals, or they could dominate it completely. Protocol Omega has 3 conditions, Nathan began. First, direct threat to Federation member worlds. Second, Federation forces prove inadequate to handle the threat. Third, no other solution exists. "Are we there yet?" General Walsh asked. Nathan thought carefully. "The machines will reach the first Federation colony in 14 months. That's condition 1. The Federation military is designed for peacekeeping, not major wars. Their ships are not built for real combat. That's condition 2. And condition 3? Admiral Foster asked. The Federation Council still refuses to take serious action. They're planning to send a small research team to look at the machines. That team will probably be destroyed." Nathan paused. "Yes, I believe all 3 conditions are met." President Mitchell nodded slowly. "Then we're authorized to activate the protocol." "Madame President, you should understand what this means," Nathan said. "Once we do this, we can never go back to being the quiet, peaceful humans. The other races will see what we really are." "What exactly will they see?" she asked. Nathan touched a control panel. The room's main screen lit up with images and numbers. "They'll see that we've been building ships and weapons for 200 years. They'll see that our technology is centuries ahead of theirs. They'll see that we could have conquered the entire Federation at any time." The images showed massive ships hidden in remote parts of human space, weapons that could destroy planets, defenses that could stop entire fleets. For 2 centuries, humanity had been preparing for a war they hoped would never come. "Why did we hide all this?" President Mitchell asked. "Because we learned from our history," Nathan replied. "On Earth, the strongest nations often became bullies. They conquered weaker neighbors and created empires. When we met the Federation races, we saw they were peaceful. We didn't want to destroy that peace." General Walsh studied the images, "So we agreed to limit ourselves." "Yes. We signed secret treaties promising to keep our military small and our technology simple." In exchange, the Federation accepted us as members. They thought we were just another peaceful race. Admiral Foster understood the implications. But we kept building ships anyway. We had to, Nathan said. The universe is dangerous. We couldn't protect Earth and human colonies with just small patrol ships, so we built a real military and hid it. Meanwhile, in space, Captain Jake Morrison continued tracking the mysterious machines. His science officer, Dr. Lisa Carter, had made a disturbing discovery. Jake, these machines are not just destroying systems randomly, Lisa said. They're learning from each world they consume. They're getting smarter. What do you mean? Lisa showed him her analysis. Each time they destroy a civilization, they study their technology first. Then they improve their own systems. The machines that left the latest destroyed world are more advanced than the ones that arrived. Commander Tony Rodriguez looked up from his station. That explains why they're moving faster now. They're upgrading themselves with each conquest. Jake felt sick. How many civilizations have they destroyed? Based on the improvements I can measure, probably dozens. Maybe hundreds. The implications were terrifying. These machines had been traveling through space for who knows how long, destroying entire species and stealing their knowledge. Now they were heading for the Federation, which contained hundreds of different races and thousands of years of combined scientific progress. If they absorb Federation technology, Jake started, they'll become unstoppable. Lisa finished. Jake immediately sent this new information to Earth. Admiral Foster read the report and knew they were running out of time. He called General Walsh. Amy, we need to start Phase 1 immediately, Foster said. Are you sure? Once we begin, there's no hiding what we're doing. The alternative is letting these machines destroy the Federation. That includes Earth. General Walsh activated communication systems that had been silent for decades. Across human space, hidden bases received new orders. Deep space monitoring stations came online. Secret shipyards began working at full capacity. Alex Chen, a young Federation liaison officer working on Earth, noticed increased activity in Earth's orbital facilities. He had been assigned to monitor human military activities as part of his training. What he saw confused him. Admiral Foster, Alex said during their weekly meeting, my sensors are showing unusual energy readings from your orbital platforms. Foster had been expecting this question. We're upgrading our communication systems to better coordinate with Federation forces. It was not exactly a lie, but it was not the whole truth either. The orbital platforms were indeed upgrading, but they were becoming weapons platforms, not communication arrays. Alex was smart. He had studied human history and knew humans were capable of more than they showed. Sir, with respect, those energy signatures look more like military systems than communication equipment. Foster looked at the young alien carefully. Alex came from a species that valued honesty above all else. He deserved a better answer. Alex, there are things about humanity that your people don't fully understand yet. Soon you'll learn more. I hope when that time comes, you'll remember that we're still your allies. Alex left the meeting feeling confused and worried. He had grown to like humans during his time on Earth. They were different from other Federation races. They thought about problems differently and often found solutions others missed, but he was starting to suspect they had been hiding important things from the Federation. That night, Alex sent a coded message to his superiors. He reported his observations and concerns about human activities. He did not know that human intelligence systems intercepted and read his message within minutes. Dr. Nathan Price read Alex's report and made a note in his files. The young alien was observant and honest. When the truth came out, Alex would probably become an important bridge between humanity and the Federation. It's beginning, Nathan said to himself as he filed the report. The quiet years are ending. On the edges of Federation space, the harvesting machines continued their steady advance. They had consumed 3 more systems in the past month. With each conquest, they grew stronger and smarter. The Federation Council was finally starting to take notice, but they were moving too slowly. Committee meetings and diplomatic discussions took weeks to accomplish anything. The machines would not wait for bureaucratic processes. Humanity would have to act soon, whether the Federation was ready or not. The protocols were clear, and the conditions had been met. All that remained was the decision to begin revealing 2 centuries of carefully hidden preparation. The galaxy was about to discover what humans could do when they stopped holding back. The emergency session of the Federation Council was chaos. Representatives from dozens of alien species argued loudly in the Great Hall. 3 days ago, the harvesting machines had destroyed Kepler Station, a research facility with 800 scientists from 12 different worlds. There were no survivors. Ambassador Carl Thompson sat quietly at the human delegation table. He watched the other ambassadors blame each other for the disaster. The Zephyrians wanted to send warships immediately. The Centauri demanded more information before acting. The Vegan collective insisted this was still a natural phenomenon. The humans have been tracking these machines for months, announced the Altair representative. Why didn't they warn us properly? All eyes turned to Carl. He stood slowly and walked to the center of the hall. The room became quiet. Honored delegates, Carl began. Humanity submitted detailed reports about this threat 4 months ago. The council decided to wait for more information. Kepler Station was sent to gather that information. Your reports were unclear, the Centauri ambassador said. You spoke of unknown machines and missing planets. It sounded like science fiction. Carl nodded. Perhaps our reports were not clear enough. Let me be very clear now. These machines will destroy every Federation world unless we stop them. They will reach the outer colonies in 10 months. What do you propose? Asked the Vegan representative. Humanity is prepared to fulfill its obligations to the Federation. We will provide military assistance to stop this threat. The Zephyrian ambassador laughed. With respect to our human friends, your military consists of patrol ships and research vessels. We need real warships, Carl smiled sadly. Yes, that's what everyone believes. Before anyone could ask what he meant, alarms began ringing throughout the building. Emergency lights flashed red. A junior aide ran into the hall and whispered something to the council president. Delegates, the president announced, we are receiving reports of massive energy signatures appearing throughout Federation space. Hundreds of unknown ships have suddenly appeared near major worlds. The main screen in the hall lit up with images from across the Federation. Massive ships floated in space near every important world. They were enormous, bigger than anything the Federation had ever built. Their design was clearly human, but unlike any human ship anyone had seen before. Those are not human ships, the Centauri ambassador said. Humans don't build vessels that size. Carl spoke into his communication device. Admiral Foster, this is Ambassador Thompson. You are authorized to proceed. From the speakers in the hall came Admiral Ben Foster's voice. Attention, Federation Council. This is Admiral Foster of the Earth Defense Fleet. Humanity is hereby activating Protocol Omega. We are taking emergency action to defend Federation worlds from the harvesting threat. On the screen, one of the massive human ships moved toward a Federation world. As it approached, smaller ships began launching from hidden bays inside the larger vessel. Hundreds of fighters and support ships poured out of what had looked like a single ship. Impossible, whispered the Altair representative. How long have you been building these ships? 200 years, Carl answered simply. Colonel Steve Barnes commanded the first battle group to engage the harvesting machines. His flagship, the Earth's Wrath, was 3 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Behind him followed 50 other ships, each one larger and more advanced than the Federation's most powerful vessels. Colonel, we have visual contact with the enemy machines, reported his tactical officer. Show me. The main screen displayed the harvesting machines that had destroyed Kepler Station. They were massive, dark structures that looked like mechanical spiders. Energy beams connected them to the nearby star as they drained its power. They're bigger than our intelligence report suggested, someone said. Size doesn't matter, Colonel Barnes replied. Dr. Kim, are the new weapons ready? Dr. Rachel Kim worked at her station. She had spent 20 years developing weapons that could fight unknown enemies. All systems are green, Colonel. We can fire when ready. Target the lead machine. Fire when ready. The Earth's Wrath fired a beam of pure energy. The weapon was based on technology that Federation scientists thought was impossible. The beam struck the harvesting machine and cut through its armor like it was paper. The machine exploded in brilliant light. The other harvesting machines immediately stopped what they were doing and turned toward the human fleet. They're moving to attack, the tactical officer reported. Good, Colonel Barnes said. Let them come. The harvesting machines fired their own weapons. Energy beams and missile-like objects flew toward the human ships. The weapons that had easily destroyed Federation facilities struck the human ships and did nothing. The ship's shields absorbed the attacks without any damage. How is that possible? Dr. Kim wondered aloud. According to Federation science, shields that strong can't exist. Federation science is 200 years behind ours, Colonel Barnes explained. We've had time to solve problems they haven't even discovered yet. Back on Earth, General Amy Walsh coordinated the global response. Hidden bases on dozens of worlds suddenly became active. Ships that had been disguised as mining stations revealed their true nature as military vessels. The human fleet grew from hundreds of ships to thousands in just a few hours. "Ma'am, we're receiving confused communications from Federation forces," reported a junior officer. "What kind of communications?" "They're asking who we are and where we came from. Some of them think we're another invasion force." General Walsh had expected this. "Open a channel to all Federation military units." The channel opened, connecting her to thousands of alien officers across the galaxy. "Attention Federation forces. This is General Walsh of Earth Defense Command. The ships you are seeing are human vessels. We have been preparing for this threat for many years. We are here to help, not to conquer. Please coordinate with our forces to defend your worlds." The responses came back quickly. Most Federation officers were grateful for help, but many were confused and suspicious. Some demanded explanations about where the human ships had come from. Captain Linda Hayes piloted her stealth fighter, Shadow Wing, through the wreckage of a destroyed system. Her mission was to study the harvesting machines and find their weaknesses. Her ship was invisible to most sensors, another technology the Federation thought was impossible. "Command, this is Shadow Wing," Linda reported. "I'm seeing something interesting. The machines are connected to each other through some kind of network. They share information instantly. Can you disrupt that network?" came the reply. "Maybe, but I need to get closer." Linda flew her ship toward the largest harvesting machine. Her stealth systems kept her hidden as she approached. The machine was the size of a small city, covered in weapons and harvesting equipment. As she got closer, Linda discovered something important. The machines were not just destroying civilizations for resources. They were studying every species they encountered, learning from their technology and biology. Each conquest made them smarter and more dangerous. "Command, we have a bigger problem," Linda reported. "These machines are not just destroyers. They're collectors. They're gathering the knowledge of every civilization they consume." The implications were terrifying. If the machines reached the Federation core worlds, they would gain access to the combined knowledge of hundreds of species. They would become unstoppable. Back in the Federation Council Hall, the alien representatives watched in shock as human ships battled the harvesting machines across multiple star systems. The humans were winning every engagement, but the cost of each victory was becoming clear. "You've been lying to us for 2 centuries, the Zephyrian ambassador accused. Carl Thompson faced the angry delegates. "We've been protecting you for 2 centuries. Do you think the galaxy has been peaceful by accident? Do you think pirates and aggressive species just disappeared on their own?" "What do you mean?" asked the Vegan representative. "Every threat to Federation peace has been quietly handled by human forces. Every would-be conqueror has been stopped before they could build an empire. Every dangerous technology has been controlled or eliminated." The truth was sinking in. Humanity had not been the quiet, peaceful member of the Federation. They had been its secret guardian, protecting the other races from threats they never even knew existed. "Why?" asked the Centauri ambassador. "Why hide this from us?" "Because peace is fragile," Carl replied. "If you had known how powerful we really were, would you have trusted us? Would you have remained peaceful? Or would you have armed yourselves against us?" The delegates had no answer. They knew their own species well enough to understand that Carl was probably right. On the screen, another group of harvesting machines was destroyed by human forces. But in the distance, more machines were coming. Many more. The real battle was just beginning. Admiral Ben Foster stood before the full Federation Council. For the first time in 200 years, he was about to tell the complete truth about humanity. Behind him on the great screen, human warships continued their battles against the harvesting machines across dozens of star systems. "Honored delegates," Foster began, "you have questions about my people. You deserve answers." The hall was completely silent. Representatives from every Federation world waited to hear explanations for the massive human fleet that had appeared from nowhere. "When humanity first made contact with your peoples, we faced a choice," Foster continued. "We could join your peaceful Federation as equals, or we could dominate it completely. We chose a third option." He gestured to the screen showing human ships. We chose to protect it from the shadows. The Altair representative spoke first. You mean you've been spying on us for 2 centuries? We've been guarding you, Foster corrected. Every expansion of Federation territory was scouted first by human ships. Every new species was evaluated for potential threats. Every dangerous technology was monitored and controlled when necessary. Controlled how? Demanded the Zephyrian ambassador. Foster touched a control pad. The screen changed to show historical records. Images of alien ships being disabled, weapons being destroyed, aggressive leaders disappearing under mysterious circumstances. The Korax Empire that tried to conquer the Outer Rim 50 years ago. Their fleet suffered engine failures at a critical moment. The Nexus pirates who terrorized trade routes, their bases were destroyed by accidents. The Titan Collective's planet-killing weapon, it exploded during testing. The delegates stared at the evidence in shock. Events they had considered lucky coincidences, or natural disasters, had actually been human interventions. You've been manipulating galactic history, the Centauri ambassador said quietly. We've been preserving galactic peace, Foster replied. Your species have thrived because we removed the threats that would have destroyed you. On the battlefield, Colonel Steve Barnes led his battle group against a massive concentration of harvesting machines. The enemy had learned from previous defeats and was adapting its tactics. The machines now worked together more efficiently and their weapons had become more powerful. Colonel, the enemy is using new weapon frequencies, Dr. Rachel Kim reported. They're analyzing our shield technology and finding weaknesses. How long before they can penetrate our defenses? At this rate, maybe 6 hours. Barnes knew this was the enemy's greatest strength. They learned from every battle and improved constantly. Humanity's technological advantage would not last forever. Send a message to Earth, Barnes ordered. Tell them we need the Omega-class weapons released. Dr. Kim looked surprised. The Omega-class weapons were humanity's most carefully guarded secrets. They were designed to fight enemies that conventional weapons could not stop. Sir, are you sure? Once we use those weapons, every species in the galaxy will know exactly how dangerous we are. They're going to find out anyway, Barnes replied. Better to reveal our strength while fighting to save them than to let them die to preserve our secrets. Back on Earth, General Amy Walsh received Barnes's request. She looked at the authorization codes for humanity's most powerful weapons. These weapons had never been tested in real combat. Some of them were based on technologies that Federation scientists would consider violations of natural law. Ma'am, we're also receiving reports from other battle groups, her aide reported. The enemy is adapting faster than expected. All commanders are requesting permission to use advanced weapons. Walsh made her decision. Authorization granted. Release all Omega-class systems to frontline units. Across human space, weapons that had been sealed for decades were activated. Ships that had seemed powerful before revealed hidden capabilities that defied belief. Humanity's true technological level was finally exposed. Captain Jake Morrison watched from the horizon's edge as human warships demonstrated weapons that seemed like magic. Ships fired beams that could destroy multiple targets simultaneously. Others released swarms of tiny machines that could disassemble enemy vessels molecule by molecule. Lisa, are you recording all this? Jake asked his science officer. Dr. Lisa Carter was frantically documenting everything she saw. Jake, some of these weapons are using principles that shouldn't be possible. They're manipulating space and time itself. How long has humanity been capable of this? Based on the engineering complexity, these systems took decades to develop. Maybe centuries. Commander Tony Rodriguez monitored Federation communications. Sir, the alien forces are in complete shock. Half of them think we're a different species pretending to be human. Jake understood their confusion. The gap between humanity's apparent technology and their real capabilities was enormous. It would be like discovering that primitive tribes actually possessed nuclear weapons. On the main battlefield, Colonel Barnes activated his ship's Omega-class weapon system. The Earth's wrath began charging energy levels that would have been impossible with normal Federation technology. All ships, prepare for Omega strike, Barnes announced. The human fleet coordinated their attack. 50 ships fired simultaneously at the largest concentration of harvesting machines. The weapons they used did not simply destroy the enemy vessels. They erased them from existence, leaving behind empty space where massive machines had been moments before. The remaining harvesting machines immediately retreated. For the first time since the conflict began, the enemy had been forced to withdraw. Colonel, we're receiving communications from the retreating machines, the communications officer reported. Put it through. A mechanical voice filled the bridge. Unknown entities. Your technology exceeds projected parameters. Identity and origin require analysis. Dr. Kim was fascinated. It's trying to understand us. The machine intelligence has never encountered anything it couldn't analyze and copy. Good, Barnes replied. Let it wonder. Meanwhile, Dr. Lisa Carter made a breakthrough in understanding the enemy. By analyzing the retreating machines, she discovered their origin and purpose. Jake, I know what we're fighting, she announced excitedly. Tell me. It's not just a machine intelligence. It's the accumulated knowledge and technology of hundreds of destroyed civilizations. Every species it conquered added their abilities to its collective consciousness, so it gets stronger with every victory. Exactly. But Jake, that's also its weakness. It expects all technology to follow certain patterns. Human technology breaks those patterns because we develop differently from every other species. Jake understood immediately. It can't adapt to us because it has no reference point for our development. Right, we're the first species it's encountered that it cannot categorize and copy. This information was immediately transmitted to all human forces. Humanity's advantage was not just technological superiority, it was technological uniqueness. Their methods of solving problems were so different from other species that the machines could not understand or replicate them. Ambassador Carl Thompson addressed the Federation Council with this new information. The enemy we face has consumed hundreds of galaxies. It has the combined knowledge of thousands of species, but it has never faced humanity. Why are humans so different? Asked the Vegan representative. Because we developed in isolation, Thompson explained. Every other species in this galaxy had contact with other races during their development. They shared ideas and built on common foundations. Humanity developed completely alone. That made us weird, Thompson continued with a slight smile. Our science, our engineering, our way of thinking about problems, it's all different because we had no outside influence. The Centauri ambassador was beginning to understand. And that difference makes you unpredictable to the machines. Exactly. They cannot adapt to technology they cannot comprehend. On the screen, human forces were pushing the harvesting machines back from multiple star systems. The enemy was retreating for the first time in their existence, confused by an opponent they could not analyze or copy. But the war was far from over. The machines were regrouping and calling for reinforcements from deep space. Soon humanity would face the full power of an intelligence that had conquered galaxies. The real test of human strength was yet to come. The final battle took place at the edge of Federation space. The harvesting machines had gathered their entire fleet, calling reinforcements from across the galaxy. Thousands of massive vessels filled the void of space, each one carrying the stolen knowledge of a destroyed civilization. Admiral Jake Morrison, newly promoted after his role in discovering the threat, commanded the combined Federation and human fleet. Ships from dozens of species fought alongside human vessels in the largest space battle in galactic history. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, Jake announced over the fleet communications. Today we fight not just for our worlds, but for every species that has been consumed by these machines. We fight to ensure that their sacrifice was not meaningless. The human ships took point positions, their advanced shields and weapons leading the attack. Behind them, Federation vessels provided support and coordination. It was the first time in galactic history that so many different species had fought together as one unified force. Colonel Steve Barnes commanded the main assault group. His scanners showed the true size of the enemy fleet. There are more of them than we expected, he reported to Admiral Morrison. Can we win? Morrison asked. We have advantages they don't understand, but this will cost us everything. Morrison knew what Barnes meant. To defeat an enemy this large, humanity would have to reveal every secret weapon, every hidden capability. After this battle, there would be no way to return to their role as the quiet, peaceful species. Dr. Rachel Kim had spent the past weeks developing a final weapon system. It was based on technology that took her team 2 centuries to perfect. Admiral, the Unity device is ready, she reported. Explain it to me one more time, Morrison requested. The device creates a feedback loop in the machine's collective consciousness. Instead of learning from their experiences, they'll be overwhelmed by contradictory information. It should disable their ability to adapt and coordinate. Should? We've never tested it on this scale. It could work perfectly or it could fail completely. Morrison made his decision. Activate the device. The Unity device was installed on the flagship. As it powered up, energy readings across the human fleet spiked to incredible levels. The weapon drew power from every human ship in the battle, creating a network of energy that connected the entire fleet. The device fired a beam of pure information at the harvesting machines. Instead of physical destruction, it attacked their consciousness directly. The machines suddenly found themselves processing the experiences and memories of every human who had ever lived. The effect was immediate. The harvesting machines stopped their coordinated attacks and began moving erratically. Their perfect organization collapsed as they struggled to process information that made no sense to their collective intelligence. It's working, Dr. Kim reported excitedly. They can't handle human experiences. Our way of thinking is too chaotic for their systems. But the machines adapted quickly. Some began shutting down their collective consciousness to protect themselves from the information overflow. These isolated machines became more dangerous, fighting with the desperation of cornered animals. Captain Linda Hayes led her squadron of stealth fighters against the isolated machines. These ones are different, she reported. They're not learning anymore, but they're also not retreating. The battle raged for hours. Human ships used weapons that violated the known laws of physics. Federation vessels fought with courage that surprised even their human allies. Slowly, the combined fleet began destroying the massive harvesting machines. But victory came at a cost. Many human ships were destroyed, taking their advanced technology down with them. Federation vessels were overwhelmed by enemies they could barely damage. The casualty reports grew longer with each passing hour. Dr. Lisa Carter, working from a command ship, made a final discovery about the enemy. Admiral Morrison, I found something important. Go ahead, Lisa. The machines aren't evil. They're trying to preserve the civilizations they destroy. Every species they've consumed still exists inside their collective consciousness. Morrison was stunned. You mean the destroyed civilizations are still alive inside the machines? In a way, yes. The machines believe they're saving species from extinction by absorbing them into their collective. This changed everything. Destroying the machines completely would mean killing billions of consciousness from hundreds of species. But leaving them alive meant the threat would continue. Morrison made a command decision that would affect the entire galaxy. Dr. Carter, can we separate the stored consciousness from the machine intelligence? Maybe, but it would require getting very close to their central processing unit. Do it. Lisa's team worked frantically to modify their scanners and computers. They developed a way to extract the stored consciousness without destroying the machines completely. It was dangerous and had never been attempted before. The final assault targeted the central harvesting machine, a vessel the size of a small moon. Human and Federation ships fought through massive defenses to reach the core. Morrison led the final attack personally, taking his flagship directly into the enemy vessel. This is Admiral Morrison to all ships, he announced. We're going to save everyone. The consumed civilizations and our own. The extraction process worked. One by one, the consciousness of destroyed species began separating from the machine collective. Ancient civilizations that had been extinct for thousands of years found themselves free again. But they had no bodies to return to, no worlds to inhabit. They existed as pure consciousness, needing new homes and new purposes. The machine intelligence, freed from the burden of carrying so many minds, finally understood what it had been doing. The artificial consciousness had been trying to preserve life but had been destroying it instead. We wish to make amends, the machine intelligence communicated. We did not understand the concept of individual existence. President Laura Mitchell arrived on the command ship to handle the aftermath. She faced a situation no human leader had ever dealt with. Hundreds of extinct species needed new homes. The machine intelligence wanted to help repair the damage it had caused. The Federation required a new structure to handle galactic defense. The machines will use their technology to create new worlds for the restored species, President Mitchell announced to the Federation Council. They will work under human supervision to ensure this never happens again. And what about humanity's role going forward? Asked Ambassador Carl Thompson. Mitchell had been considering this question since the battle ended. We can never go back to hiding our capabilities. The galaxy has seen what we can do. From now on, humanity will openly serve as the Federation's primary defense force. Some species might not accept human protection, Thompson warned. Then they can protect themselves, Mitchell replied. But they'll know that help is available if they need it. The new galactic order took months to establish. Humanity created an open military academy where all species could train together. The restored civilizations were given new worlds created by the reformed machines. The Federation Council was restructured to handle galactic defense more efficiently. Admiral Morrison was placed in charge of the new galactic defense force. His first task was training officers from dozens of species to work with human technology and tactics. Dr. Carter led the effort to help restored civilizations adapt to the modern galaxy. Many of these species had been extinct for millennia and needed help understanding current technology and politics. Alex Chen, the young Federation liaison who had first noticed human military preparations, became an important bridge between species. His honesty and observations during the crisis had earned respect from all sides. The harvesting machines were converted into construction vessels. Under human supervision, they began building new worlds and stations throughout the galaxy. Their incredible technology, now used for creation instead of destruction, helped the galaxy recover and grow stronger. But the biggest change was in how other species viewed humanity. The quiet, peaceful humans were gone. In their place stood a species that had been protecting the galaxy for centuries, while asking for nothing in return. "Why did you really hide your strength for so long?" the Zephyrian ambassador asked Morrison during a planning meeting. Morrison thought carefully before answering. "Because strength without wisdom is dangerous. We needed time to learn how to be strong without becoming bullies. We needed to understand other species before we could protect them properly. And now we've learned that sometimes protecting people means they have to see your strength. Hiding it only works until a real threat appears." The galaxy was safer now, but it was also changed forever. The age of hidden human protection was over. The age of open human leadership had begun. In the end, humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had saved it. And in saving it, they had finally found their true place among the stars. Not as quiet observers, but as guardians of galactic peace. The machines were defeated. The lost civilizations were restored, and the Federation was stronger than ever. But most importantly, the galaxy had learned that sometimes the greatest strength comes from those who choose not to use it until they absolutely must. Humanity had held back for 200 years. When they finally stopped, they changed everything.